Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Obviously, we got breaking news as Micah Parsons has been traded to the Green Bay Packers. All the details are rolling in right now, trying to figure out exactly what the trade compensation is. Right now, I'm seeing 2 first-round picks. It sounds like there's rumors that I've heard rumors it was Kenny Clark that went with them. I've heard rumors it was Romeo Doubs. I've heard rumors it was Rashawn Gary. So we're trying to figure out exactly who's got the accurate information there. So obviously, we're going to take our time and dive into all the details and kind of dissect this thing a little at a time here. As obviously I was not ready to go live, but when you have news like this breaks, we got to hit it, man. So, we've been talking about this a lot here lately, and many people were getting frustrated with it, getting aggravated over it. I understand there's some fatigue that goes along with this, but at the same time, man, this is a huge trade. One of the things we've been saying here lately, and just speaking for myself, if the guys hop on here, we'll get their take as well, which I think Jake will be joining us shortly. We were hearing 3 first-rounders and Rashawn Gary for Micah Parsons. You guys know I'm like, man, ain't no way I'm pulling that off. We talked about a first-rounder and a third-rounder. To me, that would be the absolute sweet spot. If you talk about, 2 first-rounders, all right, what's the player that's going back with them? It's kind of in between what we had said. You got some people saying they would give up a three first-rounders and Rashawn Gary. We were saying a first and a third rounder. So you end up with 2 first rounders. And it looks like, according to Adam Schefter, let's get it on the screen here, it is Kenny Clark who is going to Dallas. So looks like the trade terms are Kenny Clark and 2 first round picks for Micah Parsons. So we will dive into all that. It's funny, man. Nobody's seen that one coming, right? We heard Romeo Doubs was mentioned. We heard, like I said, Rashawn Gary's name got tossed around a little bit. Some people were saying maybe Lucas Van Ness, a younger player. Cap-wise, guys, this makes a whole lot of sense. We talked about Kenny's cap number for next year. Matter of fact, we'll get that queued up here so I don't give you guys any false information. Let's go to Kenny Clark's spot track. And like I said, you guys bear with me as I get the studio settled in here. I'm still loading up the other streams and everything. Obviously, just ran up here. So with Kenny, his contract we talked about it's going to have to be heavily restructured next year, or they would probably just cut him loose, right? So when you look at his contract, it looks like Spot Track is really, really struggling here as well, as everybody's probably going to gather information there too. So I want to say we could free up, it was something like $25 million if we moved on from Kenny next year. It was something crazy like this. Cap number was going to be $30 million, if I remember. So the fact that you move on from Kenny, now if there's any dead cap, obviously that should accelerate to the current year. We'll dive into all those details, but very, very interesting, man. So now let's look at it from a player standpoint, right? A personnel standpoint. You lose Kenny Clark, which, everybody's been vocal about Kenny the last few years. You guys know I was the one, I caught some flack for it, saying I didn't think they should re-sign him to the number they did. But you hear the coaches talk about him. You hear the front office talk about him, how he's a leader on the team, all those things. Locker room presence does matter, of course. Last year, we seen him struggle in terms of statistically. We had him, we were thinking he would thrive in this new 4-3 Jeff Hafley defense. He obviously struggled in that regard. Then we find out after the year, had a foot injury, so you kind of chalk it up to the majority of that. That explained all the touch spine going on, everything there. But this makes a lot of sense, not going to lie. 2 first rounders and Kenny Clark. Now the question becomes, who's your run stuffer, right? Who's your run stopper in the middle? Kenny played 1 tech last year. Okay. So Kenny played 1 tech. He was controlling 2 gaps a large portion of the time, which we talked about. That's what we mean by the touch spy, obviously. Um, who becomes your run stuffer? You still got Devontae Wyatt, so pass rush wise, you're really, really good shape there. You've got Devontae Wyatt in the middle. You know, we talked about this from time to time. It was kind of surprising that Carl Brooks, who played a lot of edge defender um, at Bowling Green in college, he's such a big body defensive lineman for him to play edge. He came to Green Bay and we've seen him in the one tech a lot. So this kind of feels like in the short term, in your nickel 4-2-5, Devontae Wyatt in the three tech, Carl Brooks in the one tech, a little bit of Kobe Wooden as well. Hopefully Nas Stackhouse gets up to speed. He made the 53-man roster. There's your run stuffer if you need to go to a jam front. And then, of course, you've got LVN you can kick inside from time to time as well. You got Warren Brinson you just drafted. So this is the cool thing about this whole trade here. Kenny Clark, if their plan was to keep his same role from last year, which was playing touch spy in the one tech, you can do that with just about anybody, you know, because what you're doing, guys, is you're lining up in the A gap, you're engaging with the guard in the center, and you're just kind of holding your ground. You're not really going after the quarterback. So now you pick up Micah Parsons opposite Rashawn Gary. Let's freaking go. That's very, very exciting because, again, one of the reasons why we were like, man, there ain't no way I would do that trade. 3 first-rounders and Rashawn Gary, you're losing your best pass rusher. You're picking up a better pass rusher, but you're losing a little bit in the run-stop game. Now you got Gary on one side. You got Micah Parsons on the other. Got an absolute demon getting after the quarterback, and you got a more well-rounded in terms of playing the run in Rashawn Gary. And you gave up Kenny Clark for it, and you freed up a bunch of cap, and the cap kind of offsets. Still can't get spot track to load. I'm going to try it one more time. So think about this. When you're overly concerned about the cap number that's going to come with a player like Micah Parsons, right? Well, if you're moving on from Kenny next year, you're going to free up a boatload of cap. This balances the sheet out pretty damn well. So this is exciting, man. Very, very exciting. So if everybody would know, we got a bunch of people watching in here. Do that YouTube stuff for me. Hit like, hit subscribe. We're going to be in here for a while. Didn't plan on going live till 6:30 Central Time, but we'll be in here cutting it up and hanging out and talking about all the different angles of how this trade affects the Green Bay Packers. I want to say this about Kenny Clark, and I want to get your take. We got Jacob joining us now. Kenny Clark was a pro's pro in Green Bay. You guys know I was vocal, didn't think he was worth the money. However, you're talking about a guy who always did the right thing. He was a leader in that locker room. He had some great years, albeit it's been a while since he's had a year like his best year. So wish him nothing but the best, obviously, as a Packer fan. Sucks to lose a person like Kenny in your organization, but and this makes a lot of sense. He's 30 years old, Jacob. You traded in a 30-year-old, going to be 30, I believe, right? You're trading a 30-year-old for a 26-year-old, right? You're freeing up a little bit of cap space from Kenny's contract, significant cap space, I should say, but you're picking up a huge chunk in Micah Parsons. And now you've got arguably the best pass rush. I would say I feel comfortable saying Rashawn Gary one side, Micah Parsons the other, is better than Aiden Hutchinson and whoever Detroit's got on the opposite side of him. Kind of feels like in the NFC North, maybe even the entire NFC, you now have the best edge room in the entire league. Gary was rated amongst his peers, 80th best player on the top 100 in the entire National Football League. He had the most run stops of any edge defender last year while still leading the Packers in pressure percentage, him and Brenton Cox Jr., of course, at 13%. Now you have Micah Parsons at 19%, 12 and a half sacks. Similar snap count. Don't let the 13 games fool you. But you got you a sack specialist on one side, a run stuffer on the other, and the cap hit is somewhat minimized because of what Kenny's inflated number was next year. I'll shut up now, Jacob. What do you think, man? How you feeling?
Boy, I was at the Aldi's checking out when I looked down and saw that.
You paid for your groceries, right? You did.
Well, I left the quarter in the cart, like you're supposed to. Honestly, man, it was shocking. My first initial honest to God reaction was, what do we give up? When I saw the numbers first, that was a little bit shocking, but that's just the price that you're going to pay for top dollar athletes at this time, especially at that position. When I saw the 2 firsts, I was like, okay, it's a little rich. And then when I saw that there was depending on a player, I was really crossing my fingers that it wasn't going to be Rashawn Gary. When it was announced that it was Kenny Clark, I think a lot of people know my opinion on Kenny Clark has kind of always been a great player, a great person, but I just think that for the money that we've paid him over his career, that there was a lot lacking. And if you were, we went through so many scenarios last night and the night before, and I know that a lot of people in the chat were sick of it. I know Tim, I don't know what he's doing right now. If he's got concrete shoes on walking into a lake or something, but to me, this does make sense. It kind of does. Somebody else in the chat made a really good point that in this past season we lost Ja and Kenny. How much younger does that make our average team now? We are going to be the youngest team by far, I would have to imagine. And the connection between Love, Mulugeta, all that just seems like where there's smoke, there was fire, and there was a lot of smoke. As you guys know, we were sifting through all the drama, all the rumors, all the BS. And I'll be honest, I did not expect this to flash across my screen. Did not expect for my phone to blow up. It feels like that there might be a new day with between the Ed Policy years and with Goot and them just saying, you know what, we wanted to go after a few of these guys in years past, and it didn't. You saw that the press conference with Goody when he says sometimes you make a great deal, sometimes the best deal is one you don't make, and maybe the ones that they hadn't made in the past. They look at the positions and the standings that we ended up being in those certain years falling a little bit short. This to me is going to be. It's going to be very fun to start this season. And like you talked about, I think it's the best edge group in the league. And if you're worried about, hey, well, they're just going to run right to Parsons' sides. Well, that's LVN. He's still in the building, and he's somebody that can kind of be moved around like a puzzle piece, a chess piece, if you will, and really kind of shore up any sort of worries of being able to exploit Micah in the run game. So I tell you what, I'm just wondering what number is he going to wear,
Yeah, right. Because Jaden Reed's got number 11, obviously, right? I think we'll work that out. Let's hit these super chats real quick. Josh Martin, thank you so much, buddy. He says 2 firsts and Kenny to get a 3-time All-Pro Parsons to team up with Gary. That's a legendary trade for Goot. Does LVN move inside now? That's a great question because all of a sudden the edge room is a little heavy, right? And I will say this. One of the things I was wanting to highlight on the last preseason game we watched, LVN only played a few snaps, but in those few snaps, he actually lined up in a 3-tech on one specific play, and it caught my attention. So maybe that's a part of the plan, but you're probably going to still continue with this heavy rotation of these edge defenders as well. And you've seen Gary too. I talked about this when Gary made the top 100 list. People were laughing because NFL Network said he moved to defensive tackle, but like I'd pointed out, I think he played 24 snaps last year at the 3-tech. So you may see a little bit of a hybrid look of, imagine this look, Jake. If you get into a passing situation and you put Micah Parsons on one side, LVN on the other, have Devontae White in the 1-tech, or maybe even you'll go with kind of a wide front where you've got a couple double threes there in the middle, and then Rashawn Gary at a 3-tech as well. Could you imagine that package? That's very, very interesting, especially if LVN continues on the trajectory he's shown here in training camp. So, Josh Martin, again, thank you for that super chat. Drew D says, a little $5 super chat says, celebration money we got to steal. Yeah, I have seen no Packer fans that don't like this trade. And again, you guys know where I stood. And here's the thing. I want to say this about Tim. Tim said it over and over and over. I would love to have Micah Parsons. I'm just not selling the farm for him. Right? We said it again last night. This is not selling the farm for Micah Parsons. This is freeing up a ton of cap space next year, getting rid of a player who underperformed the last 3 to 4 years, albeit a good locker room guy, and 2 first-round picks is this is nice, man. I got to be honest with you, Jay. I'm surprised Jerry Jones did this. And Drew, thank you for the super chat. Are you surprised that Jerry actually agreed to this? Because this does feel one-sided to me.
I mean, I think he sees those 2 first-rounders and thinks maybe that Kenny has got a little more juice in the tank for him. But I'm I'm very surprised. I did not expect this whatsoever. I thought for sure we covered it multiple times on the podcast how Myles Garrett, Trey Hendrickson, all these guys that are out there kind of fluffing and huffing and puffing, they ended up staying with their own team as soon as you throw the big money at them. So it's very surprising to me that Jerry Jones didn't pull the trigger, especially when you look back at exactly this kind of thing happened with Dak, happened with CeeDee Lamb. It just seems like that for whatever reason he and Micah were just at each other's throats enough where I think it became more of a personal grudge for him, like maybe an ego thing where he's like, I don't want this guy on my team anymore. And maybe the deal just looks so sweet on paper that they said, screw it, let's just do it.
Right. Could have been, man. Ian Rappaport putting this tweet out. The Cowboys are trading all-pro Micah Parsons to the Packers, and they agreed to a 4-year, $188 million deal. Done deal by David Mulugeta and Andre Odom, and of Athletes First, including $136 million guaranteed. And that was reported by Tom Pelissero, Ian Rappaport, and Jane Slater there. So $47 million per. Parsons, the highest paid non-quarterback in history. Netted 2 first-round picks, obviously. Ryan, give me a thumbs up if you're ready to jump
Dude,
in.
I got chills right now. I'm like shaking.
We got a special guest here with us now as the Pack Daddy himself, Ryan Slip, joins the show. Good to see you, buddy. You have the floor, man. I don't know how.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we got you, man. You're
okay.
Loud. Good.
I'll be honest. I don't know what's going on.
You don't have no clue what's going on?
So I'm out in the middle of nowhere, and I'm getting text messages like, I can't believe it. I'm like, elaborate. What are we talking about here? So I talked to my half Mexican attorney, and he didn't know what was going on. He's sleeping. He's like, what's going on? Bro, give me details of what. Like, somebody said we got Micah Parsons. I don't know what's going on.
No, it was Micah Robinson. We signed Micah.
Okay, that makes more sense. So yeah, I don't. I'm scared to even elaborate because I might have some details wrong. But let me just say that any amount of I don't know about the compensation at this point, it doesn't matter.
Right.
I am so unbelievably excited that we got Micah Parsons, who is an absolute game changer for this franchise. We'll worry about first round picks on draft day when it's like, oh man, we have to sit this day out. Otherwise, yeah, hopefully at pick 32, we got to worry about it. But man, I was already excited about Rashawn Gary and Lucas Van Ness to kind of see what they could do. And you got Micah. I haven't fully processed this yet, man. But I heard you were saying, I got chills right now. I'm freaking out. I'm driving in the car on the phone. Like, what's going on?
Definitely. Here's the compensation. Maybe you heard it, but they're getting 2 first-round picks and Kenny Clark is the trade. Now
no disrespect to Kenny, but when I heard that was I was like, oh no, there is a player. I was like, oh, I bet it's either Rashid or Kenny or not Kenny or Van Ness or something. Yeah. Gary, and he's like, it's Kenny. I'm like, no disrespect, but really?
That was my reaction. I was like, why did Jerry want a 30-year-old who's kind of underperformed the last 3 years? And I'm with you. I like Kenny too. We found out about the foot injury last year.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, one guy that was saying 3 first-rounders and Rashawn Gary, he'd pull the trigger. I'm going, not me. And then today he said 4. Or I think he said yesterday. No, today he said I would do 4 first-rounders. I'm going, you people are insane.
Yeah, I mean, there is a point where – but the cool thing is I'm hearing with stuff I thought was fake anyways, but 2 firsts, a second, and Gary to get this done. So that's – in my mind, that's the baseline.
Right.
So as Blaine's looking, I'm going, what's the compensation? He's like, it's 2 firsts. I'm like, okay, what else? Right. So then I'm thinking we got a steal, and he's like, oh, it's a player. And then he tells me it's Kenny, and I'm like, okay, what else? I mean, look, again, I love the draft as much as anybody. I covet those first round picks as much as everyone wants to dunk on us for not doing well. Golden hopefully is going to prove that wrong. Mm-hmm. But I mean, that in my mind, that's a steal. I mean, this is an absolute game changer. This is the top of the pecking order. If there's 10 guys on a list that everybody would want to trade for today, I don't know if he falls, but he's absolutely on that top 10 list, probably top 5 list. The other thing too, everybody's saying, well, Gutekunst would never do this. You guys don't understand. This is the kind of guy Gutekunst loves. 26 years old, I think he is. I mean, if it was like Trey Hendrickson. Trey Hendrickson's a guy that he's not going to pay for because he's 30 some odd years old. But look at Xavier McKinney. Look at Josh Jacobs. Look at Preston Smith and all those. He loves his 26, 27-year-old studs that can come in here and perform. So yeah, he absolutely would come in here for a guy like this if the price is right. But his whole thing is these guys are never available. But look what happens when they become available. Xavier McKinney becomes available, he's a Packer. Josh Jacobs becomes available, he's a Packer. I don't know how we keep getting all the 26-year-olds that become available, but Gutekunst is just laughing at the rest of the league who's out there trying to get Trey Hendrickson and a bunch of 30-year-olds that have big names. And it's like, you guys are suckers. It's like, yeah, we don't do anything, but when we do, it's a 26-year-old in the prime of his life, and we're going to have him come in here and play for us. So I am beyond excited. And I haven't fully processed, and I'm sure I have 6,000 messages on Twitter right now calling me an idiot for saying that these are all fake rumors, but I've never been happier to be stupid in my life.
Hey, listen, man, as Jacob was saying, it got wild out here because you had so many different people. And I will say this, we got to put some respect on Pretty Ricky's name.
Hey, build him a statue.
That dude, I wonder who it is. I almost wonder if it's
all right, guys, it's me.
I wonder if it's somebody like if we found out who it was, you go, no way. Like, you know what I mean? Somebody really on the inside. It's just hilarious. But Seth Ruder with the super chat, his back feeling much better all of a sudden. I'm pumped. Yeah, we all knew what the back injury was, right? It was him simply trying to force his way out of Dallas. But that's exciting stuff. Let's go to the chat. Jacob, do you see anything in the chat you want to hit on?
Everybody's just excited. They're coming rapid fire. I honestly haven't seen a single negative one yet, like you said. To Ryan's point, it just didn't seem possible. So I think more people were upset about just teasing it, just clickbait. We don't want to hear about this anymore unless it's going to happen. And then all of a sudden, boom, here it is. Like Ryan's, I'm glad to be called, whatever you want to say, stupid, dumb, not, gullible, whatever it is. But here we are. And I don't know, man. I still have not processed it. I'm almost literally shaking right now. I'm freaked out.
Yeah, my stance was no way I'm giving up 3 first-round picks, right?
Sure.
3 first-round picks in Gary. 2 first-round picks in Gary was like, I don't know about that because you're just kind of going back to square one. They'll double team Parsons, and if LVN doesn't take the step, you're kind of in the same place. Man, you when you're talking about 2 first-round picks and Kenny Clark, dude, that's real exciting. And I can't get Spot Track to load. So I really, really wanted to go in there and see exactly how much money we freed up because I know it was well over 20 million we were going to free up if we moved on from Kenny Clark. So with that being said, if you freed up 20 million, his average per year, his being Parsons 47 million. The way this usually shakes out, I would say his cap number the first year probably be somewhere around 25 to 30 million, maybe. If that's the case and you freed up 20 million with Kenny Clark, then really you're going down about 17 million. This is Goody. It's Goody 101 right here, baby. So Nick McSwain, I love Clark, but this was a great move. Same thing. Yeah, same. Hey, that's the thing too. I haven't seen one Green Bay Packer fan that's didn't like Kenny Clark as the person. It's just Ryan was the first person 2 years ago that brought it to my attention. I just kind of assumed Kenny's this great player. He's this great player. And Ryan pointed out on one of his podcasts, Kenny hasn't had a good year in a couple years. And you go back and it was Mike Pettine's last year with Green Bay that Kenny had such a great year, if I remember correctly. You remember saying that, Ryan? You remember talking about that?
Yeah, no, I mean, he was good. He was really solid for like 3 years and he started to go down. I think this past year, again, the foot thing probably made it worse. So I think there'll probably be a little bit of a bounce back, but either way, he's going to bounce back to being okay. And at his age, he's got almost no time left. The other thing I'm curious about, if you're looking at Spot Track, is I know it's not obviously going to cancel out, but we got to keep in mind that we're dumping his contract. We might be eating something this year, but by next year, that's going to free up quite a bit. What's up?
Mm-hmm. That's a good point. Yeah, I'm trying to get it to pull up again. It's just spinning. It's spinning like your favorite CD.
But I think the 2 biggest questions I'm seeing in the chat is 1, what's his new number going to be? 2, how are they going to place Kenny and with what players? Do you have any aspects into that, Ron?
Sorry, what was that? I'm being asked where the chicken nuggets are.
The important questions. No, a lot of people are wondering who is going to replace Kenny Clark in that rotation.
Yeah, that's kind of, as I'm thinking about it, is, again, I don't think Kenny is wonderful, but we are pretty thin. I think Stackhouse provides a pretty solid guy for that sort of run defense thing. I think they really like him. I like what we have as pass rushers. I've been hyping up Wyatt for a while. I don't think he's really fully reached his potential, but I think Stackhouse might play a pretty big role in what this team is going to do, just because outside of him, I don't know. I don't really like Wyatt as a run defender. I don't know where Brooks and Wooden are in that category, but you might have Stackhouse and a pass rusher like Wyatt kind of taken up a little bit, and we'll see what Warren Brinson can do. But I'm wondering if he's going to kind of fill in a bigger role than originally thought.
Yeah, and just for the record here, Kenny played one tech last year in our nickel 4-2-5, which is kind of the run anchor, and he occupied double teams. It was almost like Jeff Hafley did a hybrid of how you play two gap out of a 34 front in his 4-3 base, but obviously the nickel 4-2-5. What he did was he had Kenny play two gaps in a touch spy essentially, and everyone else had one gap assignment. So you're still in a gap with a guy who had a foot injury, but albeit the other team didn't know, which, by the way, I don't know if I should say this, but that's against the rules that we withheld that information all year long. But hey, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, right? So, so outside of him, the one that played one tech the most that wasn't named TJ Slayton was Carl Brooks. I wonder, and you've seen Carl Brooks in this preseason, had a phenomenal preseason, according to PFF. Wonder if he's going to be your new one tech. Devontae Wyatt's your three tech, and now of course you can do your normal edge defender rotation. We got the contract information here already from Spot Track, and we nailed it just now, boys. Check it out. So, what a 4-year, $180 million contract extension looks like for Micah Parsons, or could look like, including $53 million in 2025 plus $29 million, $90 million guaranteed at signing, $78 million 2-year cash, $115 million 3-year cash, 4 years, $159 practical. That's very, very important there. So you're talking about a 4-year, $40 million a year deal in practical. Caught that pterodactyl. Did you see that? Yes. So now when you look at how it could be structured, his cap hit this year, guys, for 2025, $11.8 million.
Sure.
2026, this is what I was talking about, it being the 30 range, $35.3 million in 2026. 2027, it jumps to $47 million. 2028, it would jump to $54.3. 2029, it jumps to $55. Now, the dead cap is what you really want to key in on here. If I can get this to go full screen. Here we go. So notice right here, guys, 2027, the cap hit is 47.3 with a dead cap of 30.9. So you could literally move on from Micah Parsons that year and free up $17 million. Not that you would want to. He's 28 years old, but just simply showing you how this is how Goody will probably structure the contract. 2028, yes, the cap number jumps to $54.3 million, but look at the dead cap attached, 20.6, and the base salary of $44 million. I imagine if the Super Bowl window is open, I think we would all agree it is. You're probably going to see Goody. If you do get up against the wall with the cap, you'll be converting base salary to signing bonus, write him a check, and tacking on a couple voidable years, and you can free up. I mean, you could easily free up 20 to 30 million if you want to continue to feed that Super Bowl window. But man, this is looking like a dream. It couldn't have worked out no better. And this is why I was so, Ryan, I don't know if you've been keeping up with our opinion on this, but I was so combative at the sports talk in both Milwaukee and Madison, because it's like, you guys are talking about giving up 3 and 4 first round picks. What are you talking like? And I got to be honest with you today. I'm going, hell, maybe it's me. Maybe Goody will give that up. And now this brings it back to center. I'm like, okay, I wasn't losing my freaking mind here. Like this is right on par with what you're looking for. 2 first rounders in Kenny. So anyway, you got anything else in the chat there, Jacob?
Yeah, I mean, it's just I still have not seen one negative comment out of 911 people that we have watching live right now. IROC is saying that's the crazy part is also that Micah wants to be a Packer. I think that's a big part of this too, is obviously the connection with Mulligetta, Jordan Love kind of going to bat for him. I just am. It just still seems unbelievable. I think another Ron Sambo was saying 18 million in dead money over the next 2 years for Kenny. Do you know if that's by chance accurate? If you got Spot Track up there?
It still won't load for me. So, Ron, are you saying 18 million for the entire 2 years, or 18 million in dead money per both years, meaning 36 million total? Because if it's 18 million, that makes sense of what I was thinking about, because his cap hit was going to blimp well over 30 million next year. And if the dead cap attaches 18 million, you absorb that this year. If it truly was just 18 million in dead cap, that accelerates to the current year. You got to pick that up on the tab right now, right? And what we were 30 million under the cap already. So There you go.
Yeah. The other thing is
playing Cowboy Credit. Yeah, it's going crazy. They got fleeced. Yeah, I had a bunch of Cowboy fans yesterday saying, "There's no way you'll have to sell the farm to get mine." So Goody just came in here and did the thing. I don't know if we lost Ryan or not. Ryan, you're either
Can you hear me?
We lost you. We can hear you, but you look
okay.
Really
yeah, I when I saw it was frozen, I was like, oh shoot, I think I'm done here. So I don't know what's going on. The camera thought that was a great pose for me and was like, let's just leave it there.
It looks like you're very serious, like you're very just reading. You're in there reading.
I'm suddenly pissed about this situation, as you can see.
Looks like blue steel from Zoolander is what it looks like. You know,
yeah.
Exactly.
I got like the grease lightning little thing in the front there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ron Sanville confirms 18 million total. Let's go, man. Let's go. So you essentially you wiped Kenny off the books. You absorbed the 18 million clip this year. Oh, by the way, only 11.8 on the books for Micah Parsons. So that's no problem at all, right? This Goody he literally balanced the sheet on his way to trading for Micah Parsons.
That's crazy.
Unbelievable.
Pretty cool. Pretty darn. All right. Let's see what else we got here. I'm going to comb through Twitter one more time. Jacob, if you want to go back and hit some of the comments. And Ryan, you stay as long as you want, man. Don't feel obligated to hang out on here. I just wanted to get your take in real time if possible. So
yeah, I wish I had a better one. Like I said, I'm struggling to process this because I had put it out of my mind. It's not going to happen. So I got to I'm so upset. I picked this week because I told my wife nothing happens this week. This is the dead week. Nothing going on. So we're going to go on vacation this week. And now I'm like, I got to do a podcast. We got to do all kinds of we got to figure this out. But I couldn't be happier, man. And I'm so fired up for football. I mean, I already was, but can you, guys were talking about, I want to go find Lions fans. We got to figure out what they're saying about week 1.
Oh yeah.
And Bears fans. And I got to go. First of all, I got to take my medicine on Twitter for everybody calling me out. And then we're going to have some fun.
What I got to ask you guys this: what brand of Depends do you think Jared Goff is going to wear next Sunday matchup against the Packers? That's what I need to know. So, I want to say this too to everybody in the chat. I really appreciate y'all include me in conversations on X and everything. And I won't say the name of the person that did it. No offense to you, Bub, but don't tag me in tweets from that guy. Because he's the only person on the face of the freaking planet that when something good happens for the Packers, he will immediately try to shift it to this is a negative for the Packers. Okay. I won't name drop him. I'm not trying to start any internet beef, as chicken crap as that is, right? But I'm just saying every single time something works out in favor of the Packers, this dude will try to spin it negatively. And it's so obnoxious. And anyone who watches this show, that's not how we roll here. So.
Yeah, I will spin something quick if you have something you need to look up. Respect to Orange says Cox must be so pumped as well. This is going to be a hell of a D. In all seriousness,
well, he got 3 puns in there, Jacob.
I know. You see how I wasn't even going to mention it. I didn't even break up.
We know what you're doing.
But the whole thing, I've seen one of the negative worries about bringing in a guy like Parsons was that he may not be the best locker room guy. Well, the Packers have shown that they're not afraid to bring in guys that maybe have a checkered past, i.e. Brenton Cox Jr., a few other guys in the past. And they seem like they understand when you get to Green Bay, there is an expectation of how you're going to handle yourself, the professionalism, the way you're going to interact with the community. And, I'm not too worried now because if the Packers felt good enough to bring him in, that means it's good enough for me. I've learned over the years not to go against what Goody and now policy that Ted Thompson, insert player here, Mark Murphy, they all seem to know what they're doing. And we're just guys sitting on the couch kind of talking ball. So I'm just over the moon right now.
He's got friends here too. I think it's a different environment. I think he's unhappy in Dallas. He doesn't like being there. He doesn't like the people leading the show. He gets to come here where his buddy Jordan is at and all that stuff. I think that'll take care of itself.
Yeah.
And you got some leaders in that locker room too. Yeah. I was talking about this the other day, right? Because it is a concern. It's like, all right, is this dude a problem or not? I know he's got the podcast. Many fans don't like this, that, and the other. But when he walks into that locker room, he's going to have to stare at fisticuffs Zach Tom, who just took on how many Seahawks in practice the other day. He's going to have to stare down Rashawn Gary. He's got all these guys in a lot. Now, Kenny was a guy I mentioned too, because Kenny was kind of a quiet leader in that locker room as well. But like you said, man, he and Jordan Love absolutely love each other. They're close buddies. I think it will be a fit. This is pretty funny right here. Check this out. Dallas Cowboys, we have completed a trade to receive a 2026 first round pick, a 2027 first round pick, and Pro Bowler. I love how they mentioned Pro Bowler Kenny Clark like he was Pro Bowler last year from the Packers in exchange for Micah Parsons. Look at the first comment. Ari Miroff. Comments should be fun here. Rob oh man, look, Jerry fleeced the Packers. I love it, dude. Look at this, absolutely hilarious. Got to be careful here too, though. So
yeah, right.
Yeah. Look at this. There we go. How about them? Getting screenshotted right now for the bank here. But carry on, Jacob. You got anything else there, man?
Yeah, I mean, like we were just talking about. And like you just mentioned, Redmo brings up, I think he'll do just fine here. It's a great city in general. He has friends, like Ryan just said. Drew D says Parsons was just trying to force his way out of Dallas. It really has nothing to do with his character. I think like that's a great point because like we talked, I think that's what made Jerry seemingly make the quote unquote deal of a century if he's trying to sell it that way. But I think the egos clashed and he was for once in his life didn't want to go back on it, even though, they said the same thing about what he did with Dak and CD. Something about this just did feel different. And now we know.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, these are pretty solid, Ron. Look at this one right here. You got the clown show over here with Steven and Jerry. So you knew these are going to be good for sure.
I'm probably going to hop off, but before I go, you should head over to my page on X real quick and grab the top image that's there. Will
do. Got it. Let's see here. Let me hop over there right now. Give me just a second.
I did it as a joke, but it's very apropos. I wish I could think of something less stupid to say right now, but that's literally the only thing I can think of.
It's on your Twitter right now?
Well, it should be the top post.
The top post on your X, right?
On my X account.
Okay,
it's the first image that you can find. Scroll down. I don't know.
Let me just put it up on. Let me put it on the screen for you, so you can show me here.
Man, this is insane.
Right there. Go down.
Yours. Okay, go down.
Right there. Go up.
Right there.
Top one.
Yeah. One more.
Bam.
Perfect.
I like it. I like it.
All right, boys. I'm gonna head off. I appreciate you letting me jump on. I got to go process and figure out what's going on, but we did it. Congratulations. So it's a day we will remember forever.
That's right. Hey, man, appreciate you jumping on, Ryan. It's good to talk to you,
buddy.
All right,
guys. See you later.
All right,
see you, Ryan.
All right, so that was Ryan Slip. Check him out on PackerNet Podcast. That's where you can find this show in podcast form as well. We'll just leave this one up for a minute, Jake. Keep on hitting the comments.
So fast. Coach Len says time for Wooden, Brinson, and Stackhouse to step up. I agree with that completely. I'll add that in. Our boy Carl Brooks, like we mentioned earlier, it's going to be really fun. Emilio mentioned something the other day where it's kind of odd that they went heavy on D tackle and went a little bit lighter on edge in the linebacker room. And I wonder if that was a kind of foreshadowing us to see, maybe they did have something that they knew was not bound to happen, but at least was very possible to happen. I mean, it's worth
makes sense, right?
Knocking around. Yeah. I keep looking at the chat. I'm trying to find anything that's negative, and all I can see is that the Cowboys fans must be losing their minds, says J. Cole. I've already got 3 or 4 missed calls from either Cowboys fans or Vikings fans of mine, friends of mine. So everybody is kind of flabbergasted by this right now. And it sounds like the consensus is that we fleece them, not the other way around.
Yeah, I don't know how they could think that they fleeced us for sure, because again, when we were talking about 2 first-round picks and a player like Gary, literally Cowboy fans were all in the comments saying, "There's no way, but you better go higher than that." We're talking Herschel Walker trade is what they were saying. So, yeah, obviously they've changed their tune now. Which, listen, that's what every fan base does, right? But obviously these comments are fire here. So Whiskey said this is less draft capital than what Jay Cutler went for. Very interesting. I don't know if that's serious or not. Maybe it is.
I think it might actually be true. That's crazy, dude.
Just keep on hitting the comments. I'm going to keep combing through to see if we see anything else here.
Yeah. Sean Farva says, I don't know if Parsons is going to be hand down DN 100 100%. He's always been stacked up edge, hasn't he? I know that earlier in his career that they kind of used him more stack, but I think as of late he's been predominantly edge. But the one thing I am a little not nervous about, but that he needs to shore up is we looked at his missed tackle rate. I believe it was like 16 point something percent last year, and the last few years before that it wasn't that bad. But he might have to work on that. But he's still so young, man. He's going to get to go in there and work with a bunch of great defensive coaches and really kind of shore up that game. And the amount of talent that is around him is just going to be insane. And I think that he understands that this is a chance for him to kind of solidify himself. I saw another chat that said that he's one of a tiny handful of players that have over 12 sacks in each of his 4 first years. So what do we always say? You don't overpay for good, but you do maybe overpay for great.
Oh, yeah, you're always willing to overpay for good.
And I don't think we overpaid. That's the thing.
Yeah. I mean, when you talk overpay, the way I understand that, Jacob, is top dollar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, are you willing to pay top dollar for something? And again, position of tier 1 importance, edge defender. We talk about that all the time. Edge and 3-tech on defense, and then on offense, it's obviously a left tackle. And nowadays, you include right tackle into that conversation of the way the NFL is shaped and putting your best pass rusher over the right tackle to take advantage of a mismatch. And then, of course, quarterback, right? But I love what J. Cole says. Just Packers love versatile players. Micah is versatile. We're going to use him in different ways. See, that's where the Cowboys screwed up, in my opinion. You guys remember 2-3 years ago, they had a really good defense. They were playing a lot of man on the backside, and they had Micah as a stack backer, and they were able to move him around, right? And defenses couldn't kill him. And the very next year, they said they were moving him to edge defender. Well, as an offensive coordinator, which would you rather have? Would you rather where Micah Parsons is going to line up so you can go ahead and dedicate a couple blockers to him? Or would you rather have to face him with him bouncing around and screwing up your whole pass protection, calling out the Mike? Now he jumps from the A gap right to the B gap left, and you're trying to get 2 bodies on him. So if Jeff Hafley chooses to use him other than edge, man, oh man. And imagine that too. We haven't even talked about that. What if, think about this for a second. What if their plan is to put him at edge defender on 3rd and long situations, but in the base package, or I say base early downs in the nickel, have him and Edgerrin Cooper at stack backer and still have Gary and LVN on the field? That's interesting to think about as well, for sure. So,
super chat by the super fan, Mr. Mike Hebring, says, "Goot, you beautiful son of a biscuit." Tell you
Good
what.
to see you, Mike. Thank you for the super chat, buddy. We have a Pretty Ricky sighting. Listen, let me just say this. Anybody who doesn't know who Little Pretty Ricky is here, Ricky Scoops over on X. He called this, and just so people know, I was DMing with Ricky, okay? When he started talking about this, he caught all kinds of hell. And I'll just say this. Sports Talk on Milwaukee, ESPN Milwaukee, ESPN Madison, everybody was – when you mention Ricky Scoops, they all giggle like, does this guy really have, how good has he been? Blah, 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 blah. So he's taking some slander, right? Look at my man, Jacob, riding off into the sunset, retiring the red hat account on this highest of highs and going out on top, hanging up the cape for the time being. Maybe I'll see you cowpokes in March of 2026. Thanks for all the love. It was a lot of fun. We have football in a week. Heart emoji, dog emoji. He did this last year too. And everybody thought, oh, he's deleting his account. He does this leading up to the season and then drifts off into the sunset. How cool is that picture right there? That needs to be our new background right there.
Got to go out on a high note,
Yeah. How about Ricky, man?
That's pretty cool. I thought this was one of the funniest things I've seen so far. Roger Davis says, maybe Goot can help Cracker Barrel. Yeah. Negotiate.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the damage might be done there with the old Cracker Barrel, but Nick, let's get caught up on some of these marks real quick here. Nick McSwain says Cowboys Reddit is going crazy. LOL, they got fleeced. I think you hit that one right. Roger Davis, Goot haters eat crow. There you go. You notice you haven't seen Omer in here? Omer ain't nowhere around today, right? Within one of his 35 accounts. Drew D, I think Parsons is the perfect complement to Gary. He's got speed and Gary has power. He's also got that bend, Drew. It's a great point. Speed off one side. That's what I was saying too, is like, from an offensive perspective, knowing Gary is an elite run stopper at edge, and now you've got Micah Parsons right on the opposite side. People say, well, that's fine. Just run at Micah, right? And that's probably what teams will try to do. But here's how you can combat that. You can now kick Micah to the underside. So on the over side of the front, where you've got an extra defender on the line of scrimmage, you can protect Micah with that extra over defender if you want to go that route and have Gary out on an island. So run it in a one-on-one situation against our best run defending edge in Gary, or face two bodies on Micah Parsons' side. That's how you can bleed into that run defense a little bit and minimize that, because that's the thing that Micah Parsons, that's his weak spot. It doesn't mean he's horrible at it, but that's definitely not his strong point. That's something Gary does significantly better than Micah Parsons is play the run, especially here recently. So the fact that you've got them both paired together, Drew, I completely agree with that, man. Completely agree. Randy Cleaver says maybe he could put a couple pounds on, talking about Micah. It's a little early for me right now, Randy, to think about whether he should gain weight or not. Let's see how he looks in this Jeff Hafley defense. But Jacob, we 10 days away from a ball game. We're going to see Micah Parsons opposite Rashawn Gary.
That's just incredible. It is incredible to think about that.
Wow. Yeah, Roger Davis. I was mesmerized watching him stunned. He's a Packer. Beers to Goot. So Goody, man, I'm telling you, you're talking about really lifting his stock. William Maddox in the chat. Good to see you, buddy. So September 28th, ticks in Dallas just went through the roof. Could you imagine when Micah Parsons returns to Dallas in week 4?
Bro.
Oh, my crazy. God.
We've got multiple crazy revenge and kind of those types of matchup games this year. This is going to be insane.
Yeah. Big Timmy 10 says, or Big Tom 10, whichever it is, Jeff Hafley is very happy. Oh, he's already drawing up stuff in the dirt. I guarantee you that. Trees Malord said, man, these are the funniest damn name. So does it mean LVN is moving to the inside where he played in college? I think there's a chance of it. Like I had mentioned earlier, Trees. You've seen a little bit in the preseason. He had very few snaps, so it's hard to try to justify, okay, that's what they're going to do with him. But he played 3-tech. Go back and watch his snaps against Seattle, and you'll see him in the 3-tech in a jam front. So a jam front just meaning a 5-man front where you've got at least a shade or a 0-tech. It's almost like a 34 front. They had him in the 3. Now we also played Gary in that spot last year, so you could say the same thing about Gary. Who's faster, Rashawn Gary or Lucas Van Ness? It's Lucas Van Ness. So to me, Gary would be more equipped to kick inside from time to time than LVN, albeit it's a great point that LVN did play inside in college. Josh Martin with the super chat. Thank you so much, buddy. He says, I knew about this trade yesterday. I pick up official jerseys for the NFL. One jersey on the invoices yesterday was Parsons' Packers jersey. It was a last and overnight delivery. Gotcha. Okay, well, cool, man. Good stuff, man. Appreciate the super chat there, dude. Jim H in the chat said Green Bay at Dallas is Sunday Night Football. I did not realize that. Is that really Sunday Night Football, Jacob?
I believe it is.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Oh, man. I'm seriously going to throw up now again.
I love how you're going to throw up even when it's good stuff that happens.
Well, yeah.
It's not just, oh, I'm nervous this game's going to make me, it's literally when something good happens, you get sick too. Is that how that works?
Good or real bad. Yeah.
All right. Next comment. Appreciate everybody in here. Hit that like button for us. Hit subscribe if you're new here. Thank you for making us a part of your Micah Parsons is a Green Bay Packer festivities here. Hobo on SOL. Rashawn Gary will benefit so much from Micah on the field. That's the thing. They've got to choose who are we double teaming, right? That's going to be a very, very interesting dynamic there as well. Ethan Vance, does Green Bay have the missing piece to get past the Eagles? Is this the missing piece? I think is probably what he's really trying to ask there. To me, the reason you lost to the Eagles was the offensive line. I don't look at our offensive line. I don't look at this signing of Micah Parsons and go, that's what gets you over the hump with the Eagles. It helps. Like Goody was saying yesterday in his presser, and I know many fans raked him over the coals for it, but what he was saying is you're never one player away. You're not. Now, one player can make an impact if it's the right player. Absolutely. He went on to say that. Here's what's cool about what you're asking, Ethan. I don't think Micah Parsons by himself gets you over the hump against Philly, but the fact that you went out and you bolstered your offensive line by getting Aaron Banks. You basically bring in your offensive line back, all the core starters, right? Really what people would consider two starters in Sean Ryan and Jordan Morgan. So you add Aaron Banks. So now you're 7 deep at offensive line, essentially, right?
Oh, my God.
And you add Anthony Belton as well. So that's what's really cool. Goody was able to take what went wrong in the Eagles game and go, all right, let's spend our free agency money there and then still bolster the pass rush and get a younger player. Here's the thing, too. In 2 years, we're going to be having a conversation, maybe even a year and a half. Is Rashawn Gary going to be on the team, right? Because his guaranteed money is going to be gone, and you can absorb even more of this hit when Gary's time comes to move on. Now, I hope he earns another contract, right? I hope he comes out and plays lights out. But Goody has the franchise protected with the way that contract's structured as well. Although the Rashawn Gary haters make it sound like Rashawn Gary's contract is this astronomical thing, and it's just simply not been the case. It hasn't. But what was that sigh for, Jacob? What did I miss there?
I saw a comment. I haven't even processed the fact that we're going to have Gary with Parsons, with Coop, with X on the same field with
Evan
Clay,
Williams.
Evan Williams. I mean, I'm literally like almost in tears here. I'm just so excited.
Does everybody still miss Jair Alexander?
Right.
You know what I mean? Cheesy1 said this is going to make watching the Packers so much more fun than it already was. I'm going to say something here too, Cheesy, that could be taken negative, but I don't mean it negatively. Don't take this the wrong way, guys. God forbid one of our edge defenders goes down with an injury. They get banged up for 5 or 6 weeks. Now you're not down to the scrap heap. You know what I mean? If Gary goes down with an injury, you got Parsons and LVN, right? If LVN goes down with an injury, you got Gary and Parsons out there. If Parsons goes down with a 6-week injury, you still got Gary and LVN.
And Brenton Cox.
Yeah, we haven't even mentioned Brenton Cox, who led the Packers in pressure percentage last year. And I want to say this about Micah Parsons, too. Don't be surprised if Jeff Hafley calls the defense the way he did last year. Don't be surprised and don't be alarmed if you see that 19% pressure rate of Micah Parsons go down a little bit. And if you see the sack numbers come down a little bit on a per pass rush basis. Because I'm telling you, what Dallas was doing was they were really hindering themselves against the run, letting him pin his ears and go, right? He's going to get his. And I'll be very, very, very surprised if he doesn't finish with more sacks than Gary. But don't be surprised if Jeff Hafley stays keyed in on, hey, guys, we're a run defense first, get up to a little bit of a lead, then we'll go get them, i.e. the Tennessee Titans game, the Indianapolis Colts game, those type of games right there. So, but, yeah, you're right, man. It's going to be so much more fun. I kind of think of this, Jacob, like the backup quarterback position. The fact that we got Malik Willis, if God forbid something happens to Jordan Love,
yep,
Malik Willis can win you a game. If one of these edge defenders go down, you've got enough depth now. I mean, you're essentially Parsons, Gary, LVM. If LVM continues to play the way he has in camp, and that's a big if, I got you. I understand there's still skeptics out there, and I completely understand. You've also got Brenton Cox Jr. You're 4 deep at defensive edge. And, oh, by the way, remember who led all rookie edge defenders in preseason and quarterback hits, and he only played in 1 game?
Mr. Sorrell.
Sorrell's going to be healthy here in a few weeks, and if he's a dog, you're 5 deep at the edge.
And honestly, Enagbare has looked really, really good lately too. I mean, that room is absolutely busting at the seams, man.
Yeah. J. Cole with the chat says, you got Cowboy fans hoping Jay Love gets injured so that they can get a high draft pick. I can't wait to kick their asses. That's the other thing too.
Mm-hmm.
These 2 first-round picks, Jacob, there's a really, really good shot that these are going to be at least after the 26th pick. So these are very close to being 2 second-round picks when you think about it.
God.
Wow. Got Jake in the chat. Good to see you, Jake. He says, hey, fellas, what a day. The early down front going to look sick with Parsons at Sam. That's that jam front we're talking about. Throw him on he's still playing edge, right, technically. But if you considered him a linebacker, which I honestly don't consider someone a Sam like that, when they show a jam front, I look at it like that dude's playing edge, especially when you go with a jam and you go with 3 bigger bodies inside. But, man, no doubt about it, Jake, Jeff Hafley's got a lot to work with, that's for sure. Cheese Guy, quote, there he goes, one of God's own prototypes, a high-powered mutant of some kind, ever even considered for mass production. Too weird to live and too rare to die. I feel like I should know that quote, Jake. Do you know that quote?
I kind of think I do, but I just know that it's a good quote. And,
is that what that female cop said to you the other day at the game? Is that the exact quote she used?
I wish. Hey, real quick, a few people in the chat that we haven't gotten to yet. They're saying, I'm assuming there's no 6:30 show, LOL. Honestly, I don't know. I just realized that I'm on a lunch break that ended 45 minutes ago.
Oh, you're out of a job. You ain't on.
I'm supposed to go back to work.
I'll finish up these chats that you got marked, Jacob, if you want to hop out of here, and then we'll get back on live here at 6:30 Central as well. So,
all right.
If you need to go, just you need to go right now, or do you got a few more minutes?
I got a few minutes.
All right, cool. Cheese guy in the chat here. Did we hit? Yeah, we hit that one, right? Okay. Holmes MD1. I feel horrible about losing Kenny. Jacob has a nervous stomach. There you go. J. Cole. Micah Parsons just released a statement to the Cowgirls. Let me go run that down, Jacob. Keep hitting these chats for me. I'm going to go try to find that.
Sure. Let's see. All right, we just talked about Baron Sorrell. Judy says now we can let Baron Sorrell heal up a bit now. I completely agree with that, and that's pretty awesome. This is the one that got me just spinning when Zacharias Earls said Parsons and Cooper will feed families. Yes, sir. That is absolutely true. And again, just the addition with them, with X, with Coop, that is just going to be an absolute dynamic. I can't even say duo or trio. It's like a quartet over there, maybe even more. You got that up there?
We got it. We're ready to roll. Now, you guys bear with me. You know, I read on a third grade level here. All right. Cowboys Nation. This Adam Schefter tweeted it out. Statement from Micah Parsons. Cowboys Nation. Growing up in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, I was one of the few kids in my neighborhood who cheered for the Dallas Cowboys. Nearly everyone around supported the Eagles, but I always believed in the Star. To wear the blue and white at Penn State and then carry those same colors into the NFL as a Cowboy, it was more than a dream. It was destiny. From the moment I arrived in Dallas, you embraced me and my family as your own. You made a kid from the East Coast feel right at home in Texas. Every time I pulled up to work, every time I stepped onto that field, I felt the weight and pride of representing you. You didn't just give me a jersey, you gave me a place to belong. I never wanted this chapter to end, but not everything was in my control. My heart has always been here and it still is. Through it all, I never made any demands. I never asked for anything more than fairness. I only asked that the person I trust to negotiate my contract be a part of the process. This is a sad day, but not a bitter one. I'll never forget the joy of draft night, the adrenaline of running out of the tunnel, or the brotherhood I shared with my teammates, coaches, and the staff who prepared me for every single game. Those memories are mine forever. North Texas will continue to be my home in the offseason. I'll still be here giving back to the community that gave me so much, and no matter where the next chapter takes me, the bond we've built will never break. Thank you, Cowboys Nation, for every cheer, every moment, and every ounce of love you showed me. Wearing the star has been the honor of my life. With gratitude and love, number 11. Classy ass statement right there. Classy statement. I love that he threw that little jab in there like, hey, you know, it was out of my control. He said, all I ever asked was anything from fairness. I only asked that the person I trust to negotiate my contract be a part of the process. So according to Micah, those rumors were true, that Jerry refused to negotiate with Micah's agent, David Mulugheta. And as you guys know, when the Jordan Love contract got done, Goody specifically said, we have a great working relationship with David Mulugheta and what is it, Athletes First, am I thinking right? Whatever the name of the agency is. So pretty cool, man. Drew D says, you want to talk about character, how about Parsons standing up for his agent? Yeah, I mean, you're talking about some real loyalty there for sure. Sound like Jerry did bite off a little more than he could chew there. And, I also give a little bit of credit to Jerry too, because he could have been really petty. I expected him to be petty, to be honest with you. I expected him to say, I got you for 3 years, bud. You're going to play here. So the fact that he did kind of, all right, let's just move on. Maybe Jerry growing a little bit there as well, but a little shady how he worked or refused to work with the agent. But You got anything to add to the statement there, Jake? What do you think about it, man?
No, I think like you said, I liked what Drew said there. It is definitely a little, I would say, calming to know that he does have loyalty. You know what I mean? Like he's not just some guy that's a hothead or anything like that. I think that he was justified in kind of feeling a certain type of way. And when sometimes there needs to be a breakup. Trust me, I've done it a few times. And every time sometimes when it's done, it's done. I'm sure you've had working relationships like that, Clayton, where it's just not gonna. There's just nothing positive that's going to come out of being in a relationship like that anymore. So I'm just happy that we were able to swoop in and get the seconds. You know what I mean? I got to
Bye.
run. I'll be
right.
back for 6:30. I highlighted as many chats as I could. Appreciate you guys in the chat. I'll see you later.
Yeah, appreciate you, buddy. We'll see you tonight. All right. That was Jacob in Wisconsin. Boz with the super chat. Thank you, buddy. Great day to have. A great day. Go Pack Go. Thank you for the super chat there, Boz. Good to see you in here, man. It is. It's a great day, man. 2 firsts and a player you're probably gonna have to move on from next year anyway. It's wild. Absolutely wild. Goody cooked indeed. Thank you for that super chat. I'm gonna hit a couple more of these chats, guys. I'm gonna get out of here. Try to drink some drink something to save the voice so we can get ready to go live for an hour and a half here at 6:30 p.m. Central time. Let's see what else we got here. Mark O'Day, geez, policy coming in a catalyst in this. I don't think so, Mark. I don't think policy, if you're insinuating he told Goody, hey, you better go make a trade, you better go make a splash, because I think he's probably going to operate a lot like Mark Murphy did. But I tell you what this does kind of feel like is he's lockstep with Goody. You know, there's been these rumors, or I don't even know if rumors is the right way of saying it, but they've been these people that seem to think that Goody's on the hot seat, LaFleur's on the hot seat, even though they got 2 years left on their contract. I think this is them working together. You know, I think everything Goody said in the presser yesterday was spot on. You know, he said, you know, it's essentially, I'm paraphrasing, the deal's got to make sense. This deal makes a lot of sense, a lot more sense than those four first round picks that some people were shouting about yesterday, for sure. Joseph Baca in the chat. Everyone thinks the Packers don't deal, but reality is they're calculated and pick their spots wisely. Go Pack Go. Could not agree more. It's just like the folks that say that Goody never does anything in free agency. He damn near spent the most money in free agency the first couple of days of free agency this year with the Aaron Banks and the Nate Hobbs signings. So I completely agree with you, Joseph. I think they are very calculated. JT Womack in the chat says, I would love to see Micah in a wide 9 at LVN and a 5 tech. Man, that could create some havoc. Think about that. Gary on the other side too, right? So what he means by a wide 9, imagine you've got Micah Parsons way outside, and a wide 9 would be on the outside shoulder of a second tight end. So, yeah, I mean, you got them, you're basically forcing the tackle to be isolated blocking Micah Parsons. You do a double wide 9 with Gary on the other side. So now you've forced single blocks on your 2 best pass rushers. And then you put LVN in a 5 tech, which is essentially going to lock him into the guard, especially if you play someone in a 1 tech on the opposite side of the line. Boy, oh boy, good luck blocking that front for sure. Here's the other thing too. LVN's a very young player, right? And we're expecting him to take a big step this year. And you guys know there'll probably be a way heavier rotation at edge defender for Micah Parsons here than he ever seen in Dallas. I promise you that. Now, maybe they'll shift a little bit because they feel a little bit better about where he's at as a player. But think about LVN, if he is taking that step. And now this is a crucial year where he can continue to learn how to be a pro's pro. Look who he gets to learn from. He gets to learn from one of the best speed rushers in the game in Micah Parsons, and one of the best power rushers and arguably the best run defending edge defender in the entire league in Rashawn Gary. That's who he's going to be learning from. And that's exciting. That's really, really exciting. Scott Hamilton in the chat. Khalil Mack part due. I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest with you, but appreciate you hanging out with us. Zacchaeus Earl says, so no show at 6:30, I'm assuming. LOL. No, Zacchaeus, we're still going live at 6:30, bud. We'll still be in here talking about it, I promise you. So we're getting ready to wrap this one up in just a second. Soldier of Nerdism, sorry. Second time in my life I have felt like this. Reggie changed us. You know, I wasn't around. I wasn't a Packer fan when the Reggie White signing happened. But I can see how you would feel that way for sure. I personally, in my opinion, think Micah Parsons is a great player. I think he's on a trajectory to be a Hall of Famer. I personally don't put him in the same tier as Reggie White. And again, I didn't watch Reggie in real time, which I think, honestly, most people who watch Reggie in real time, you didn't have access to the technology we do today where you could really break down his game. And, you know, obviously people did that over time. But I would put Reggie a tier higher than Micah Parsons personally. But Micah Parsons is definitely on that. I'll tell you who I would compare Micah Parsons to personally is he's a Lawrence Taylor top player. I wouldn't put him on Lawrence Taylor's level, but one tier lower there as well. I would put him one tier lower than Lawrence Taylor when you're talking prototype, but one tier higher than Clay Matthews in his prime. And that's an exciting place to be for sure. I can understand though, Soldier, how you draw that comparison because you remember the buzz around Reggie White coming to Green Bay. And man, what a stand-up person he was. Ron Sample Parsons is one of only 2 players to get 12 sacks in each of their first 4 years. Some guy named Reggie White. There you go. And when you're talking in terms of sacks, for sure. Again, Micah Parsons is top 5 in the league right now in terms of a sack. A guy who gets sacks. There's no doubt about it. It's his run defense that you're like, needs some fine tuning, some work. Tremaine Young, we run in the North forever. I love the energy. Love it, man. Mark O'Day, got a bad feeling about this, but hey, just my honest opinion. All right, Mark. I'd love to know what that bad feeling is. Like, that's a very vague statement. I'd love to know, and I'm not trying to disagree with you or anything. I would like to know what you mean by I got a bad feeling about this. Like, what do you have a bad feeling about going wrong, I guess is the question. Because cap-wise, I'm telling you, man, this if Spot Track's projection is correct or even in the ballpark, this is something that, I mean, it's literally on par with how Goody does business contractually, especially moving on from Kenny Clark for sure. So Chad Inc. says, I'm hoping they trading Kenny and getting rid of his contract will help us absorb some of the Parsons contract. It absolutely will. You're going to get an acceleration of the dead cap to this year, but Micah Parsons is only $11 million against the cap this year. So that somewhat balances out. So he'll be off the books after this year. Kenny will. So yeah, that's the way that this, I'll say it this way. If it had been 2 first-round picks and not Kenny, I'd be over here going, oh, crap. Cap's going to be a little bit of an issue. We can get through it. We all, teams always do, but it's going to be a little bit of an issue. The fact that Kenny was included in this deal is like, especially with how he's played here recently. Again, we've been very vocal about that. Man, I did not expect them to trade Kenny Clark to Dallas as a part of the package. If somebody had told me last night 2 firsts and Kenny Clark for Micah Parsons, I'd have went, holy cow, that makes all the sense in the world because of the cap situation. The other thing I was saying is I would give a first and a third, and if they responded with, hey, we'll give you 2 firsts and something back, boom, I'm making that deal all day long. The fact that Kenny, a player who hasn't played that well the last few years, is being shipped off with the 2 firsts, so you're freeing up that cap. It's almost like you're allowing the Cowboys form of compensation to be a little bit about taking on Kenny's contract to a certain extent, albeit the dead cap, it's still there. But Packers are in a perfect situation where they can absorb that. It's not going to be a problem at all. And the Super Bowl window is definitely open. There's no doubt. Super Bowl window is already open. To me, it opened coming into this year. What this does too, guys, I don't think this move makes you, all right, you're the favorite to win the whole thing. Now, we'll see what Vegas says. And you guys know I put a lot of stock in those Vegas numbers, which I put a tweet out earlier. I was doing a little bit of research, and we had the second best odds to land Micah Parsons. The first best odds was obviously the Cowboys to keep him. So we had a 20% chance of getting this deal done. So Vegas was all over that. They didn't have any other team nowhere near, right? But, yeah, I think that I think this is all going to play perfectly into the cap for sure, though. Nick McSwain, isn't that against CBA? Can't negotiate without an agent. It is, Nick, and there was already rumors there was going to be a grievance filed for that. So it is in the CBA that there has to be an agent present. And listen, though, if you've watched the Cowboys documentary, Jerry Jones does not care about any of that. He will bend the rules, break the rules, and try to sue the NFL to get his point across. I'll be honest, I kind of appreciate that about him. He's kind of a maverick, a pioneer in the sport, and willing to go outside of the box to do what they need to do. So all right, just trying to glance here one last time. I think we're good. I think we've kept up with the chat pretty well, and I know we got a bunch of people in here. If you guys would please hit that like button, hit subscribe. I don't want to sit in here and talk by myself. Obviously, it's a lot better when we got multiple opinions. So I want to get Emilio in here, Tim in here, Jacob will be back in here in a little bit, and who knows, we might have another special guest or two as well. So we're going to end this stream. We'll be back at 6:30 p.m. Central Time for PTA Live, where we'll break down obviously any other details we get on this blockbuster trade as the Green Bay Packers land Micah Parsons for 2 firsts and Kenny Clark. And then we'll also talk about practice, believe it or not. Practice. We'll talk about practice. We'll talk about Jaden Reed at practice today, albeit with the injury. He's out there. He's planning on keeping this thing a go. Jordan Love is looking better and better every week, getting a little closer to being 100% as well. Things are shaping up pretty nice for week 1 against the Lions, man. Really, really excited to see how this all shakes out. And yeah, that's it, guys. We're out of here. Appreciate y'all. Like I said, hit that like button on the way out. If you were new here, thank you for hanging out with us. Make sure you click that bell icon. Make sure you sub to the channel. We go live daily. We do pregame shows, postgame shows. Obviously trade breakdowns, salary cap breakdowns. We do film study, all that stuff right here on the channel. So if you're looking for Packers daily content, make sure that you do click that bell icon. We'll see y'all at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. Drew says thank you for the emergency stream. Drew, thank you for jumping in here, man. And everybody else in the chat, thank you all so much for taking time out of your day and hopping in here, because this is celebration, man. There's nothing better. I say it all the time. I love creating content. I love doing this show. I love making mistakes and learning from it and this and that. But the best part about this YouTube channel, and I've been doing it for 4 years now, is the friendships we've all created in the chat. We get some turds that roll through, and that's why we're very strict on, hey, look, if you're going to come in here and troll and do whatnot, you're gone. This is going to be a podcast where we can come in here. We can criticize the team, but we're going to be constructive with it. We're also going to focus mostly on the positive, because I don't want to sit around and watch football and be depressed. We're going to try to key in on understanding what the front office does in a positive manner, all those things. But Drew, everybody like you in the chat, man, y'all are what makes this show go. And I know some people probably rolling their eyes. God, does he really believe that? I don't care if you believe it or not. I know I believe it. And I just want everybody to know I appreciate all the support. And it's always fun to get in here and talk football with you guys. Thank you, Josh Martin, Drew D, Seth Reuter, Mike Hebring, Josh Martin again, and Boz for the super chats. Thank y'all so much for the kind donos. We'll see y'all 6:30 p.m. Central Time for PTA Live. Y'all take care.
Here we go.
Bye, guys.